America F1 back from the summer break. We hope you had a wonderful and safe vacation from Formula One. Now that vacation's over, I know your sweat glands, you're jonesing, like you haven't had coffee today. That's how much you're waiting for Formula One this weekend. And we are so happy that we have Naomi here she's in Amsterdam, and she's going to be this week's on track correspondent. Hi, Naomi.
Hi, Sherman.
Hey, Naomi.
Hi, Paul.
Now, Naomi, we know there's going to be some inclement weather out there. What's going on with the weather out there in Amsterdam?
Rain. There's a storm coming, I think tomorrow morning. And the forecast is just a lot of rain and wind throughout the weekend.
Yay.
The more rain, the better.
Yay. It sorts the men from the boys.
No, but it's on Saturday. So Sunday is sunny.
Mhm.
Heavy rain on Saturday and wind on Friday.
Oh, wind on Friday. So that'll affect practice a lot, I guess, right?
I think so.
Setting up cars without realizing what Sunday's going to be. So, yeah, it's going to be tricky.
Now, the one thing about the track pronounce it for me, Naomi, so I won't mess it up.
Zandvoort.
Zandvoort.
Zand.
Zandvoort.
Xanadu.
God.
So last year, there was over 108 overtakes, was actually the record for any race in Formula One history. So we're hoping that this year's race could be halfway as exciting as last year's was. And a couple things that maybe you didn't know about this track at
Zandvoort.
That it has an 18-degree bank, which is twice what it is at the Indy 500. And that's pretty amazing because the Indy cars have a really huge bank going around there. And I didn't even know it was twice that. Now, the race started all the way back the same year as Silverstone, back in 1952. And it dropped off the calendar somewhere around, well, not somewhere around, in 1985. And then they brought the track back with some new additions in 2021. And guess who's won every race since they brought it back? Guess who? Guess. Just take a guess.
Oscar Piastri's mum.
Naomi, show him with your hat and
visual aid.
Who's won every race? Da-na-na-na. Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen. Now
it gets worse.
Naomi,
Sherman, it gets worse. Naomi, you're going to the race this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get to the race? Tell Sherman how you get to the race.
You have to take the Max Verstappen Express.
Wait, what?
It's a train. It's a train, and it's called the Max Verstappen Express.
No, I'm
Oh,
not.
yeah.
The Verstappen Express, I think.
Is there another train that's called like just train or?
No, there's one, and that's the Verstappen Express.
And what's the tune they play on the train?
No way.
It's the Max Verstappen one. I don't know what it's called, but it's the
one that goes
Mm-hmm.
That's the one.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go just for that. Like, do they play it like 100 times? How long does it take to go from Amsterdam to the track?
It's about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how often they play the song, but it will come on 5-6 times.
I don't think you can do it, Paul.
Only the Dutch could invent psychological warfare.
It's totally psychological warfare. So, Naomi, on this great spring break from Formula One, what have you been doing, and what do you think is going to happen for this race upcoming?
Do you want my honest opinion?
Of course.
I think
No,
Max
lie to
will
us.
win this
Lie to
weekend.
us. Lie. What?
I think Max will win this weekend.
Because of all the hats that you have, or because of
No,
all the Red Bull you've
it's
been drinking, or
no, it's his home race. I
yeah,
think he will try everything to win this one. Just for all the Dutch people out there.
Paul, what do you got to say about Naomi's total lust for Max Verstappen?
I don't think Naomi's actually a fan of Max's. She just is Dutch and she lives there. But I don't think that Max is going to win this weekend. But it's going to be, because I also think the wet weather and the different conditions are going to make us think twice about who's going to be the winner this week. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. We're back after 3-4 weeks of in the wilderness. I can't wait to get back on track. And remember, there's momentum behind Lewis. He was your race winner last time.
Now, Naomi, what do you have to say to that? Because there's no way that you're not a Max Verstappen fan out there with all the gear that you have. You're showing all this great gear out there, and you got the
Well,
baseball cards and everything.
no, it's the turbo attack cards, but the cap was a gift from a friend for my birthday.
Oh, let me see it again. Do you have it? Do you have it handy so you can show the audience?
Show
What?
the other cap, Naomi.
Show.
No, I mean the bucket hat, the one I was wearing.
No, the card. The card.
Wait, I will.
Is
Sherman,
that
I'm gonna get you for this, Sherman.
are you? No,
Where is
Paul,
it?
I'm not torturing you or anything.
Oh, here it is.
I mean, she's in Amsterdam. Whoa. Is that a special edition only for being at the track this weekend?
No, it's just a Max Verstappen card. I don't know. You get it in like a service pack.
Hey Naomi,
That's all.
how many races have you been to, and when did you start going?
17.
17
And I started at
races.
15.
And she started at 15 years of age. Isn't that cool? I absolutely love, and I think we need to make this as a statement right now, the inclusion of women in Formula One, but the drive that now the female fans have, the input and the amount of women that are supporting Formula One is just amazing. And the faster we get a woman into Formula One, and I keep saying this over and over again, the sooner we get a woman into Formula One, the better it will be for the entire sport. And I love it. I absolutely love the devotion and the input from the amount of women that I connect with through Facebook and through other channels, and how they just talk F1 and how they're more into it than some men that I know. So it's
Naomi,
big thumbs up from me.
how you got into Formula One and why you started watching it, and what's your relation to Formula One?
Well, it was because of my dad. He took me for the first time, and the second one, third one, fourth one. So I took a break when I was like, I think 17. I was not interested in it anymore. I had other things, and eventually I started watching it again, and I just got hooked on it. That's because of all the times that I went when I was younger. I think something was missing when I wasn't watching it. So I was missing something. And when I started watching it again, I started going to races again. It's just something, I guess if you start watching it, you're hooked on it. And
Right.
I don't know what it is, what caught my attention, but I'm hooked.
Do you think you're attracted also to, when you go to the races, are you attracted to the feeling of the crowds when they're screaming, when they're applauding, when they're stomping their feet? Or do you like the cars? I know you're very lucky to have been pit lane side many times. I think it should be mentioned that you're in event management, but you've had the pleasure of being pit side on many occasions. You've been allowed to go to the press days, the practice days, the pole days, and the race days. That's So
But
for those of you,
it's
for
the
those
atmosphere. Oh,
for For those that don't know about Naomi, she's actually a moderator in one of the clubs with myself and Sherman, and her input to the club, her knowledge of Formula One is amazing. And thanks for your elbow, Sherm. And it's wonderful it's wonderful. The connection that we have with you now is amazing. So yeah, thanks, Sherm. All we got was elbow in the screen.
My elbow and screen.
Look at it. You look at Birashi.
I've been moisturizing. Did it look ashy? I've been moisturizing.
I knew I'd get a rise out of him. I told you I'd get you back, and I got you. Oh, am I ashy? Am I ashy?
All that cocoa butter on there, you know. So over the break, there's been a couple things that has happened that maybe the audience is not keeping up with. Now we've learned that Oscar Piastri actually had a cracked rib, and it was from something in the car. Why don't we take a look at what Oscar had to say, and then you guys give your reaction to what the young lion, Oscar Piastri. I'm calling him the young lion because that's what Max Verstappen calls himself. So I'm going to say that Oscar Piastri, some people like over here in America, they call him pastrami, but we won't say that, you know. But we can say he's a young lion. Let's see what Oscar has to say.
So, Oscar, good summer break, but revelation that you've been competing with this broken rib. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? When did it happen, and how are you feeling now?
It's all fully back to normal now, so that's good. But it was at some point in the triple header in Austria, roughly, just driving. So yeah, Silverstone was pretty painful, but it's all good again now. So yeah, little challenge halfway through the season. The last.
Naomi, what's your reaction to the cute little cuddly bear, little lion Oscar?
Well, I think that it's pretty impressive for what he did with a broken rib. I couldn't have done it with a broken rib, so just keep racing. Don't show any pain. Well, because did anyone notice that he had a broken rib or was in pain at all?
No.
No idea.
So that says it all.
Paul?
Actually, this brings to mind a lot of drivers who've had problems. You know, like like respect earned from Lance Stroll that year when he busted his hands and he broke something else, and he got back in the car 3 weeks later. I mean, just incredible that what these guys will put themselves through. And we can kid ourselves that they're ultra fit, this, that, and the other, but that doesn't repair bones. It doesn't heal, all these other things. And I know they get some special treatments and special ice baths and, all this kind of thing that can help accelerate your repair. But my God, when you hear the listings, I mean, Daniel Ricciardo busted his arm, Lance busted his hands, Oscar's had a busted rib, and the list of injuries can go on. And what these guys put themselves through to get back in that seat, to be in that competition, is stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and it's amazing that, remember, if we go back in the history of Formula One, I mean, guys are coming back from like major crashes and getting right back in the car. And you're like, wait, that would probably put me out of capacity for 6 weeks. And they're driving right away. They're like, I got to get back in the car. And because it's such a competition sport, they know if they let some other guy get in the car, or hopefully some other gal one day, they might not never get back in the car again. So they have to get right back in there. And all props to Oscar, the young lion, for coming
Cuddly
back.
koala bear, you mean?
Cuddly koala bear. I like that. We can go on with, and speaking of cuddly koala bears, we just want to remember and tell everybody out there to remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button for our channel so you can be notified when we have a new episode up. And we appreciate all your love and your followings, and tell a friend, tell a fireman, as they say, because we want to be the preeminent channel that you watch for Formula One. Now, moving on, there's a lot of upgrades coming, Naomi. Do you know about some of the upgrades some of the teams are making? And can you talk about that?
Well, I know that Mercedes is bringing the field update from Spa. I know Ferrari is bringing one, and McLaren. but I don't know the specific parts they bring in.
Paul?
Well, the one I'm looking forward to actually is the one that's going to go on the Ferrari. So Ferrari is talking about changing its suspension style. And I don't know if that's going to be pre 2025, but I think it is. And that's going to change how this car operates. It's not going to change their pit stop strategies, but it will certainly help the car balance a little bit better, and it should take some of the bounce out. I'm not aware of the McLaren upgrades. I know Mercedes are running a floor this week. A new floor, and that's going to be on George's car. If it works, they'll put it on Lewis's. If not, Lewis will be running the Silverstone setup that he had, which can't be bad.
No, it can't be bad because he's won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
George is still saying he won. You know, did you see that? George is still saying, "Well, I really won that race." No, George, it
No.
still says 2 races next to your name. It doesn't say 3. You can believe you won, but you didn't win, George. You didn't win. Rules are rules. Rules are rules. Now, I know the Ferrari's upgrade had a huge amount of porpoising, and they can't figure out why it's brought so much porpoising to the car. And just having drove a kart the other day, and when you have that porpoising, when the car is shaking, I don't know how these guys could do that for 50, 60 laps with the car shaking so much. Because me, with just 5, 6 laps, I had to pull over and say, "Hey, you got to fix this car, man, because I'm not driving this with all this shaking going on." And I'm just driving a cart 5, 6 laps. They're going 50, 60 laps with this porpoising.
I wasn't aware you drove a kart. I know you took your son karting.
Yeah.
There seems to have been a bit missing here about you getting in the go-kart. After all, Mike was giving out about,
Well,
you've never gotten into a go-kart, blah, blah, blah. You don't know.
yeah. I went
5
to the track
laps.
with my son, and yeah, he embarrassed me. Yeah, he embarrassed me. But I gave it a go. I gave it a go.
Brilliant.
So, but,
Well done.
uh,
Congratulations. Well
I had
done. Well done.
a faster overall lap time, but he was overall better. But whatever.
Don't
We
be
won't discuss
competitive
that.
with your son.
You know,
The fact is
um,
you got your old ass in a go-kart, okay? Okay.
one thing that was interesting is that Esteban Ocon came out and says that Alpine has never, and I mean never ever listened to their drivers as far as upgrades, as far as car performance, as far as where to take the car to make it a better car. He said that they didn't listen to Alonso, they didn't listen to Ricardo, they don't listen to him, and they don't listen to Gasly. And that's also one of the reasons he said he's happy to be moving on to the Haas team, because driver input is just not respected at Alpine. And Naomi, since you've been in the paddock and in Formula One, how important do you think that the driver input is to the team?
It's very important, because if you're not listening to your driver, then you will never have a good car, because the driver is the one that drives the car, not the strategist, not the mechanics. So if the driver says that something is wrong, you have to listen and make it or fix it or come up with a solution. And if you don't, the car will never get better, and your drivers will get frustrated. Because if I'm looking at Alpine, for example, both of the drivers are not happy with the car. So it's important to listen to the drivers, and if they're not going to, then I think Alpine will never be a better team or never get better.
Now, Paul, you know the dumpster fire. You've been railing on Alpine all season, and you know the dumpster fire that they are, with manager after manager after manager. Fix this team for us, Paul. Fix it.
Fix the team. It's simple. Call it something else. I am laughing because Sherman, I swear, we wait a moment, we're polite with each other, we all think, and I'm going, okay, so when I get my moment, I'm going to say, this dumpster fire on wheels, and you got there before me, and I was just like, oh, he took my line. Let's go back to what we were saying. Look, if you're not listening to your drivers, you're not going to arrange your team properly. You're not going to fix your car. You're not going to correct or direct anything for the future. So what I'm amazed about is Ocon opening his mouth when there were still 10 races to go. How the hell is that going to sit with the team? How are they going to treat him? Is he going to get dumped out before the end of the season for this? He can easily just go on gardening leave. And to be honest with you, as a Formula One driver, you need to be in that seat all the time, as often as possible. So even if you are changing teams next year, you need to keep your ass in there so that you have continuity of skill set, continuity with the neck muscles, etc. So opening his mouth at this at this late stage in the game, this is the stuff you do after you leave a team, not before. But I mean, what is he? He's going to Haas, isn't he? Is he going to Haas next year?
Going to Haas, yeah.
That's it. His career's done. His career's done. It's done. It's done. He's not going to get a better opportunity.
Now, Naomi, we've had 7 different race winners this season.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's the most in the beginning of the season since 2012. And we've had 4 different constructors win a race this season. This season is really starting to be something to watch, and actually a spectacular season compared to the last 3 when we had Max just winning almost every race. Actually, last season was insane. I think he won every race but like 3, and which is crazy. So Max winning 6 of these races, though. Do you think the train's just going to keep going Max's way the rest of the season, or are we going to get a little bit more competition for this constructors' individual drivers?
No, I think there will be more competition because Red Bull, their car is just not working the way it should, and Max is not happy, and you'll notice on how he's on the radio. And Checo is failing miserably this year. I don't know what happened with Checo, but he's just off to the back of the grid. But with McLaren and maybe Mercedes, well, because it's a little bit on and off with Mercedes. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're in the middle. So I think Landor maybe could give Max a run for his money.
Now, speaking of Checo, let's see what Checo has to say about the second half of the season and how his performance has been affected earlier in the season. Let's go, Checo.
Comments from Helmut Marko that the team took a wrong turn with the RB20 and that you'll find your speed when it's pared back a little bit. Just can you put us in the cockpit of how hard this car has been to drive and how much on a knife edge it's been?
It's been difficult. The last few weekends has been difficult, but I think this break has been really good for the team because we've been able to at least understand the issues, and we've been working on them. I was on the simulator with the team. We know where we are with the car. I think now it's a lot clearer, and hopefully we are able to fix things. I know that I can turn around my season, and I always say, it will only matter my season where I finish in Abu Dhabi. So I still have 10 races to turn it around and hopefully get some really strong results.
Is Checo going to turn the season around, Naomi?
No. I think Checo is mentally broken. Like, he's just destroyed by Max. I think he will just continue to end up in P7, P8, P9. I don't think he will turn around and get back up there.
Paul, can Checo turn around the season and save his seat for next year?
No, absolutely not. No. So look, there's some missing elements here that we need to also address. Red Bull have not improved their car since Adrian Newey pretty much left. Will they be able, now that everybody else is resurging, to fix this car, get it back in the next 10 races? They might get a couple of wins. I don't know, but it's. I wouldn't be putting my money on Red Bull to win this championship, but I keep saying the same thing. I still know that Max is probably going to win the championship, but so for Checo, unless there's a real understanding or new feeling about the car and how it operates, and they can improve some of the aero that's obviously causing them some problems. That's the only way Checo's going to pull himself up the grid. But right now, he's middling. And at best, Red Bull need Checo, his performance has to be improved so that he can help Red Bull to win this championship, because Max isn't going to have a winning car guaranteed all the time. So now they've got a struggle on their hands, fix the car, get Checo confident, and see what happens. But it's easy to say this, but at the same time, McLaren are out to kill. Mercedes have the bit between their teeth now. They're not going to win the championship this year, but they have the bit between their teeth to take as many wins, as many points away from everybody else. And Ferrari, we can't discount. I'm not. Look, I wasn't a Ferrari fan, and I'm not against Ferrari, but I wasn't a Ferrari fan. But I am not going to discount Ferrari's resurgence. They have these continuous fits and starts every year. So I am absolutely loving this championship this year, in both sectors, the drivers and the constructors, and the coming 10 races. There is so much effort going to go into these that I cannot wait to watch what's going to unfold.
Well, I'm hoping, and I'm not going to say I'm praying, but I'm really hoping that Checo has a really good start to the rest of the season, because I want him to be in Formula One. I don't want a Formula One without Checo, at least for the next couple years, at least 2 more years of Checo. And the reason why, not just because Carlos Sim told me to say that. I'm not saying that just because he told me to say that and he threatened me. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it because I like Checo. I like going to the races, and I love sitting with his fans. They're very festive. They're very loving and open to Checo, but they love Formula One. And I'd hate for that whole fan base to just go away, because if there's no Checo, who are they going to root for? I mean, hopefully they love some other people on the grid, but maybe they don't. And they are some of the best traveling fans around. And even out there in Amsterdam, there's going to be a Checo section. They might not be wearing orange, but they'll have their Checo signs, and they travel like almost as much as the Lewis Hamilton fans. I'm not going to say they're in. I would say Lewis Hamilton fans probably travel the most, and then I'm going to probably say Max fans are probably second, but I'm definitely going to say between Lando and Checo, it's probably a toss-up, according to what Lando says during his interviews, because sometimes he says some things and you're like, what the hell is he talking about? What's wrong with this guy? Be more positive, Lando. Be more positive. So, having said that, Naomi, give me your predictions for this weekend. Who's 1, who's 2, who's 3, and who's the surprise?
One is, I don't know. Can I give like 2 for number 1? Because I'm not sure.
Sure.
Max or...
And you're not just saying that because you're like from Amsterdam.
No, I don't care. No, I don't care.
All right.
There's the Dutch. There's the Dutch spirit.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care.
I think second is Lewis, or maybe first, but I think second or third. And third, I will give to Piastri, Oscar.
I will say one thing: if if Max doesn't win this race, Red Bull and Christian will be crushed this time. It means a lot to them to win this race, and they'll be crushed. Max wouldn't give a crap. He'll just get back on his sim.
Give us your.
No, I think he cares. No, I think he cares. I think he cares.
Probably.
Give us your predictions for this weekend, Paul.
I can't wait to see what happens on the banking curve. Actually, I just want to say, so Naomi was telling me previously that, she's invited to go on the Thursday. So they do a track walk on the Thursday. And I said, well, with that banking, who the hell would want to walk that track in the wind and the rain?
I have a clip of, if people haven't seen this Dutch Grand Prix before, and they haven't seen it at, Naomi, pronounce the name? Xanadu.
Oh my God! Tell him off, Naomi. Tell him off.
It's Zandvoort. Zandvoort.
If you haven't seen the bank, I have a real quick clip of what the banking looks like. It's really incredible. That's quite. Did you like the 70s music? Hey, all right. Hey, all right. Hey, hubba,
When
hubba.
you're growing the mustache.
I should grow a mustache. You know, we should have a contest, really, Paul,
No,
between you and I.
Naomi would win.
See how did
Thanks.
you
Mine
hear
would be
that?
just gray. That's why I shave. I'm just
Hey,
gray, and it
can
pisses me
you,
off.
Naomi? Can you put your hand and smack him all the way in Ireland for saying that? I mean, I would never say that. I would
Come on, smack me! Woo!
never. Give it to him. So, Naomi, let's talk. Wait, I didn't give my prediction. I'm going to go with Max. Then I'm going to go with Lewis second, and I'm going to go with Oscar Piastri third. That's one way. Or it's going to be Lewis, Max, and Lando. Or it's going to be Max,
That's too many ors.
Yeah.
You can't have
Lewis.
that many
There you go.
choices.
One of
If you
those,
know,
one of those are
with
going to come through. One of those.
with with respect, if you know balls, make a choice and stick
No,
with
I'm
it.
not making.
Okay. And I didn't give my prediction. I didn't give my prediction.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you. My prediction is Lewis, Max, Lando. There you go.
No.
Yes. Yeah.
Lewis?
Lewis, Max, Lando. Lando.
Lewis, Lando. Do you see? I don't see Lando making these top three. Do you, Naomi? What do you think? I don't see that happening.
Depends if how the weather is, because he makes mistakes. So if he's under pressure, or if it's raining or the wind, he could make mistakes and fuck up his race.
I would build.
So, talking about moving on from the preview and moving on from our predictions, and now that we have Naomi here, it behooves us to talk about the behind the scenes, and has she seen more women being involved in Formula One over the years since she's been involved?
Brilliant
And
question.
go ahead, Naomi.
Hmm?
Have you seen more women being involved behind the scenes in Formula One since you started?
Depends on the track, but there are more women than a few years ago. Yes.
Brilliant.
Now, there's one thing of saying there's more women, but are there more women in positions where they have influence on the teams? I think that would be the more appropriate response, because you can have a lot of
Do you
more
mean
for women.
do you mean women working in Formula One and in the
Yeah.
teams? Okay.
Yes.
Oh no, there are a few, but it's not a lot. There should be more. That's my opinion, because most of them are men. To be honest, there are a few females, but it could be more. But I think some teams just don't give women the opportunity to go and work for a team. That's what I think personally.
I mean, let's be honest. To be in Formula One in any level, you've got to eat, sleep, and drink, and dream. Cars, Formula One, mechanics, engineering, aero. So it's getting more and more women interested at that level, and then we'll start to see them feeding through. I know they do regular features about women in Formula One, but it's not enough. The percentage is not right yet. It needs to at least be 20/80, you know?
No, not 20/80, like 30/70.
It's 37.
Okay, fine. Okay, there you go. That's a bigger glass ceiling to break, and I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely.
Or 50/50, but that's
Well, not
it's a
that's
long
never gonna
stretch.
happen.
It'd be a long stretch to get to 50/50 to get that
Mm.
many percentage women. So let's just say 100,000 women could want to work in Formula One. Maybe only 2 or 3 of them will get into Formula One, just like only 2 or 3 men would get into Formula One out of 100,000 people that, like us, we sit, we talk, we bull about Formula One, we dream about being involved in Formula One, the circus, the constant travel, the targets, etc. But to get that many women in, oof, that would be, that's a few years.
Now, Naomi, about the women drivers, do you think there's going to be a woman driver in the next couple of years in F2, in Formula 2, that's going to make it?
No.
No?
I would love to have a woman in F2, but I don't think it's happening anytime soon. No.
Paul,
Such a
do you see
shame.
anybody?
This breaks my heart. And I mean, the biggest loss we've had was Jamie Chadwick. She's now in the NXT Indie, and it's such a shame. Or Indie NXT. I'm not sure which way you pronounce it, but she's got herself a ride now. She's fully sponsored, and she's in her second year there. She's made strides. It looks like she's going to get a run in Indie itself next year. At least a run, like a couple of tests, which means they're taking her very seriously. And she, by the way, is Andretti runs her and sponsors her. So if anyone was going to come into Formula One, who's trying very hard to come into Formula One, it's Andretti. And if they get their way, I mean, why wouldn't they let Jamie have a seat? She's an ambassador for Williams at this stage. Highly respected. She won 3 championships. She was involved. I think she won when she was driving the e-car, the e-extreme. There's no better person, a female at the moment, to represent any motorsports at this time. And I don't know if she's going to make it into Formula One. She may have missed it from an age perspective. She may have missed her chance because she'd have to do like Formula 2, then Formula 1. But if anyone was eligible, it's her. No one trains as hard. She's amazing. I'm a huge fan, and I'm on her Facebook pages and all sorts. And I regularly put her stuff onto our pages.
Now, Naomi, when you're in the paddock and you're walking around and you see some of the young ladies they have the women's series in there.
Mm-hmm.
What's the vibe do you get? Do you see the hunger for one of them to make it, or they're just kind of going through the motions and they're happy to be there, or what do you see that the actual fan doesn't get to see out there?
Well, it's both. Some of them are just grateful to be there, and others are doing anything they can to get into F2 or F1. But at the end, it's just, I think all of them are just grateful that they get the opportunity to drive. But most of the women want to get to F1 eventually. So it's a completely different atmosphere. They're grateful, and they're just doing anything they can. They're working their asses off to get, hopefully, a seat in F2 or F1.
But you were saying earlier that you don't see any of this group making it into F2. So there has to be somebody coming up, hopefully through the ranks, that we haven't yet seen, or no one's tapped to, make it that next leap to F2, because that's the only way. Really, I mean, guess if you're like Max, of course you don't have to go to F2. You can just skip F2 and go straight to Formula One, But most people, other than Max, have to go through the pyramid. And it would be great to see more people at the bottom of that pyramid that are women, but the sport is so expensive. Like, just for example, a season with my son, the cart costs $7,200, right? In American money. That's just for the cart. And then every time you go to the track, that's like 60, 70 bucks. But then the tires, you got to get new tires every race. And then you have to have a mechanic, unless you know how to fix it yourself. And then you have to get the transport to the race with your cart. And if you can't do that, then you can keep it at the track, but then you have to pay for that. So there's a lot of costs in the beginning of the pyramid. And I think, and I hope that some of these teams start to sponsor not only inner city kids to be able to get to the track to afford it, but also women. And I don't really see that happening that much. Is there something I'm missing, Paul, that I don't know about?
Well, the W series. By the way, I'm going to have to jump out soon because my battery's about to die and my microphone is plugged into my phone. It powers the headset, which then powers the microphone. So anyway, don't forget we have the Women's Championship, which is on at the moment. I think it's WDC, and that is every one of those teams is sponsoring a female driver. But the car they're driving is the equivalent of like a Formula 4, so it's not got the sort of G-forces and things like that you would experience in Formula 2 or Formula 1. Look, again, I keep saying this over and over again. I would love to see women in Formula 1. There's the only argument ever seems to be from what I believe is male chauvinists, but also there's some truth to it. Apparently, women are not able to hit the 5G G-force with their frame. It's not possible, I believe, but I don't know if I believe this. And I would love to see women in Formula One. There's no actual reason to stop them, you know. So, but it
Naomi,
requires.
I'm going to give you the last word before we end this broadcast and our welcome back to Formula One and our preview of the Dutch Grand Prix. Now, you're going to be out there in the rain. Are you going to wear, you going to have an umbrella, or are you just going to have a poncho? That's one thing. And then two, everybody wants to know what you're wearing to the race. And three, do you wear heels when you go to the race, or wear tennis shoes?
Well, umbrellas are forbidden. That's one. So you're not allowed to bring one. So
Wow.
it has to be a poncho or like a jacket, rain jacket, whatever. And I'm still not sure on what to wear since the weather is unpredictable. But I'm thinking about wearing my Lewis shirt and my Lewis cap and just taking other things with me, just in case.
So you're going to wear Lewis merchandise in the depth of the Orange Army, and you're not
Why?
terrified?
No, but the Dutch fans aren't that bad. Some of them are. There are always a few that will call you names or something. But most of them just come to Zandvoort to enjoy the track, the race, the atmosphere. It's not that bad. They're respectful, so it's okay.
In heels or tennis shoes?
I think I'll go
Really?
with tennis shoes.
I had to ask that. I mean,
Well,
Did you
maybe
though? Did you?
well, maybe I'll
Paul,
wear heels
what
with
kind of
you.
heels do you wear, Paul? By the way,
Sorry, what do I want?
yeah, what kind of
Heels.
heels are you wearing?
What kind of heels will I wear?
Yeah, what kind of
I
heels?
like in my private time. I like stilettos.
Now,
or as it might be referred to as a pig in pumps.
so we like you. Thank you for joining us on another episode of American F1. We hope to see you next week when we have Naomi on, and we'll talk about a post-race and what happened at the race. Hopefully, she's wearing some nice stiletto heels that Paul will appreciate. And if she doesn't, then Paul will be really disappointed. But on that note, keep on racing,
Ladies and
everybody.
gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing